Now, I know you hate this world, but would you rather be killed by a human soldier, or would you rather be manipulated by an artificial intelligence? And if that is your fear, then you're not that far from reality and not that far from my fear as well. In this video, we're going to be talking about MACA, a new type of military technology that is brewing in the background as we work ourselves towards this incredible revolution of artificial intelligence. And in this video, we're going to talk about it. I'm not going to present it in a hype, very hype format. I'm going to make it point to the clear. I know that, the the way the world is manufactured as of right now, it's very polarizing and we don't do that in this YouTube channel. And the whole idea of this YouTube channel is so that people are not polarized. We talk things out to take it sort of like centric perspective of technology and the world and ideologies. So if you like that, please subscribe and let's talk about Namaka. So, military AI cyber agents, these are autonomous agents which are capable of doing many things. One of which is, of course, hacking. Another thing which they are capable of doing is producing mass propaganda content. And you could see this. You might have seen these accounts on X, because X has is very polarized, and you have seen AI generated content, haven't you? But you might have also been manipulated by them. Now, as we know, 50% of artificial intelligence content, sorry, what? So 50% of internet content is AI right now, and this 50% of the content, I'm gonna take this one. So this 50% of the content is supposedly, very infuriating to the people. Now, here's the perspective I would like to put on. Here's the perspective I would like to put on, which is that yes, it could be that 50% of the internet content is artificial intelligence, but a really well written human content is indistinguishable from a generative content. Now, the problem with the statistic is that it predicts the artificial intelligence generated content badly. And if I would recommend you, create a well written phrase or a paragraph with no grammatical error, like the old days, and not ask ChatGPT to fix it. And when you do that, go ahead on AI detection websites and put it there. To 100% certainty, it will predict that it is AI generative content, and it will give you a score of 90, 95% or 97%. Now that's the problem, right? That's the problem with these statistics, that a lot of human content is also being flagged as an AI content. That said, is that really a problem? Like, AI generative content, is that a problem, or bad AI generated content is a problem? I don't personally think that anyone would mind if AI was good at it, if AI was engaging at it. The only reason that we are infuriated by the use of artificial intelligence and content generation is that it's not engaging enough. It doesn't have a soul. And eventually this technology will transform and become of something that is, of course, in caliber and incompetent to engage us and create a really good experience, but not that as of right now. So what is the application for generative AI as of right now, which is really solid? Now, of course, there are multiple multiple cases, but what is the widely used case? And they're like absolutely almost perfect at it. One of it is actually coding. So when artificial intelligence came out, and we thought, like, this will destroy coding jobs, but I think it has rather created more programmers throughout in the industry. The second thing is actually text summarization. It summarizes the text most, and this is what a lot of people use it for. Now the third is ideation. So good content creators like myself, we use it for ideation purposes. So of course this video is not AI generated or AI written. That said, but I did use it for summarization to understand things more clearly. By these standards, I don't think it's like altering. But what happens when you mix military technology into it? That's it. Now let's talk about a little timeline here. In early 2025 or mid 2025, um, a series of trade decisions were made which forced countries like China into a corner, and they were kept from this gold of called artificial intelligence, and they are not supposed to mine it. And they were kept away from this gold of artificial intelligence, and they could not and China could not develop artificial intelligence because they did not have the chips. And what US did was really interesting. They stopped the supply of advanced chips and advanced graphics cards like H100 to China, so they could not develop the damn artificial intelligence, which resulted in them which resulted in them innovating a method of AI development which did not require as advanced chips as needed for the US market. So they could train artificial intelligence on RTX 3090, which is a gaming GPU where America had H100s, which was server GPUs, which was made for artificial intelligence, right? So that's cool. We got it. Okay, so America kept China, kept China away, and they had to develop new artificial intelligence. But this created a polarization in a new technology, and I have no idea how as humans we are capable of doing this, but we always create polarizations. We like China is not gonna fight America, and they're definitely not gonna fight America head on. And I think America kinda knows that, but why would you create this polarization, right? And as of right now, America has begun his export to China H100 of H100s, and eventually China was skeptical at it, and they forced uh, Chinese artificial intelligence companies to use Chinese GPUs. But now I think Jensen Wong has actually made them rethink their decision, and Nvidia has began its sale to China. Now, cool, got it, Amarnath. Got the timeline. Great. How is that related to the market? Now, because of this polarization, or these two these two countries, which are really superior in artificial intelligence technology, has created military agents, because there is a technology, there is a defense application at it, there is tension, so let's make it happen. And if I was a general, I would do the damn same. So these artificial intelligence are able to create instances of themselves in multiple locations. They are able to deploy themselves automatically. They are able to um, self repair, all of that thing. I have a list. I'll tell you that. So and of course this creates a synthetic war, which is really cool. Okay. Cool. I'm still trying to find it. Yes, they're capable of self healing. They it's kind of like a cyber kill chain. So so the reason they're capable of self healing and deploying themselves in multiple geophysical locations, it's really interesting, right? Because if you you have to imagine servers, really big servers, like you have servers of DigitalOcean, a hosting website. So we have DigitalOcean, we have AWS, we have Google Cloud, and they have multiple servers in multiple geophysical locations, right? And if you're capable of isolating these agentic artificial intelligence, agentic AIs, and destroying them or making them incapable of performing their task, you kind of have to do that multiple, right? And the biggest problem is that you cannot know if the job is done. So even after a very long time, job might not be done. It's like if you leave it from 90%, it's gonna continue again. Okay. And so the biggest problem right now is detection of it. Like if artificial intelligence is invading your cyberspace of your country. So this is what we call sovereignty as of right now. So that's the biggest problem, the detection. The second problem is actually detection, identification, then of course relief, and then like making sure the relief has done right. It's the job done. We cannot know the job done. So these are the four problems. I'm gonna repeat it again: detection, identification, and relief, and then a job done indicator. And all of this is if right now. We cannot know this because it's kind of like very it's very futurist. Now, these are artificial intelligence. I don't think will perform cyber attacks as of right now, but they are capable of producing mass propaganda. And I think this is what is actually happening. They are capable of producing mass propaganda, and as of right now they are doing that. And eventually, when the technology is good enough of both sides, they would be able to develop agentic artificial intelligence that is capable of doing cyber attacks. And when that happens, power grids, nuclear power plant, and water reservoirs, they are in danger. And because they are in danger, these incredible ginormous human infrastructure that is very important for basic human survival as of today, human lives are also in danger. So if I was a general, I would be pushing very hard, because like the plausible deniability is very strong here. Like the opposite country can just say we didn't do it, and the coolest part is that you cannot know that which country did it. If you're, of course, if your foreign service is good enough, and people are not leaking information. In an ideal country, it cannot be known that you have committed an act of war against another country. So how does this evolve? What does the future look like? The way I think about it, the way future looks like it is that we might we might have artificial intelligence figuring out if the certain accounts are artificial intelligence. So the figuring out perspective, right? Like figuring out, there can be flags which we can tell about LLMs, and they can reason through it if these things are, yeah. So yeah, so artificial intelligence is doing the same what artificial intelligence is trying to do. And this is what we're gonna have. Like when the tanks were invented, we thought like, what are we supposed to do about tanks? And then we had tanks fighting tanks. Same for the when same for jets, same for aircrafts. Now we have artificial intelligence, and we're gonna have artificial intelligence fighting artificial intelligence. That's one. The second thing is the countries which are incapable of producing artificial intelligence are going to become a somewhat online colonized countries, which are running the narrative of a different country, and that's what they want, right? So this is something West would benefit and East would benefit from. And then we would see these small agentic wars of trying to take over your mind, like what the truth really is. That's one. And most of the time this truth is not going to be very radical, like changing regime, but that's more going to be like the favoritism of a demography changing, right? So if a country was pro west, now after China has deployed their agentic AI, they're going to become neutral to the west, they're neutral to either east and west, and eventually they're going to transform to pro China. I don't think regime changes are expensive, right? Regime changes are expensive even if done with artificial intelligence. And if China does that, like you don't just do regime change and let it happen, right? When you do regime change, you want to take control. Regime change is not like you go there and you get a candy. But when you do the regime change, you have to get the control of that situation. And when you do that, what happens? Cool things happens, right? So we're gonna see these small agentic wars. This future, and the countries which are incapable becomes gonna become an online colonies. The second, now a middle part is that the countries which does not have the capability to deploy their own agentic MAICAs, what's gonna happen is very simple. They're gonna borrow MAICAs from countries like China, Russia, if Russia developed it, Russia, America. They're gonna borrow them and protect their digital sovereignty. So that's my perspective on it. And how does the world look like? I don't know. I don't know goddamn well. But this is the tangents which we are supposed to think about. And do I think that we should do something about it? Definitely yes. I think we should at least consider that it's not worth doing, but that's not gonna happen, right? We can talk that it's not worth it, but it's still gonna happen, and it's gonna happen no matter what. So let it happen, but let us create systems which protect us from it, or at least, like you cannot protect yourself from it, to be honest. If everyone in the world is trying to harm you in this particular way, you cannot protect yourself, but you can somewhat protect yourself and not become, casualty of crossfire. This is how I see it. Let's end this video, and subscribe to this video. Subscribe, a like to this video would be awesome, and if you could subscribe, that would be cool too. And if you came back to watch another video, that would be awesome as well.